There is a specific moment everyone knows. You switch off the light at the bottom of the stairs, and something in you decides to go up them faster than normal. You are an adult. You know the house is empty. You take the stairs two at a time anyway. Nobody teaches you that. No one sat you down and explained that a dark hallway deserves a little extra speed. The reaction arrives on its own, fully assembled, in people who have never once been hurt by anything in a hallway, which is the first clue. A fear that shows up without ever being learned is usually not really a fear. It is equipment. And this particular piece of equipment is old. Much older than houses, much older than us. Start with your eyes. They are daylight instruments, packed for color and detail, which is superb at noon and close to useless at midnight. You have no reflective layer behind the retina either. The thing that makes a cat's eyes flash in headlights. You never got one. The animals that hunted our ancestors did get one. Leopards, lions, hyenas. Eyes built to gather whatever light is left. Ears that outclass ours. A nose we cannot compete with. Their best hours begin at exactly the point where ours end, and we know they used them. In 1924, a small skull turned up in a South African quarry. A child, roughly 3 years old, from a species that walked upright nearly 3 million years ago. When researchers looked closely at the eye sockets, they found puncture marks. The marks match the talons and beak of a large eagle, not a scavenger turning up afterwards, a predator taking a living child off the ground and carrying it up to a nest. That fossil is one of the most famous in the world. It is also a record of a hunt. Then there is a second one. A piece of a young skull from a cave called Swartkrans, with 2 neat holes in the back of the head, 33 millimeters apart. In the same deposit, researchers found a leopard's lower jaw. The canines fit the holes exactly. This is the part almost nobody gets told. For most of the story, we were not at the top of anything. We were mid-sized, slow, clawless primates standing on an open plain that was absolutely full of things that ate mid-sized primates. And the odds got dramatically worse after sunset. In daylight, you spot a shape at 200 meters and start calmly walking the other way. In darkness, that same predator reaches a few meters before you know anything at all. Same animal, completely different night. So a system got built. Not a thought, a setting. When the light level drops, your baseline alertness climbs. Hearing sharpens, your startle threshold falls. Your body shifts into a mode designed for a world where the thing that kills you arrives with no warning at all. And that system is deliberately, usefully wrong most of the time. Think about what a false alarm actually costs. You flinch at a coat hanging on a door. You feel briefly stupid. That is the whole bill. Now think about what a single missed alarm costs. One missed alarm costs everything, and it costs it permanently. So evolution never tuned this thing for accuracy. It tuned it for surviving the worst possible case. 1,000 false alarms is a bargain if it catches one real one, which is why your brain does something strange in low light. It stops waiting for good evidence and starts guessing. It takes a coat, a chair, a shadow, and hands you a figure. Not because it is broken, because a figure is the more expensive thing to miss. It is also why sound takes over. In darkness, your hearing is doing the job your eyes cannot, running with the sensitivity turned all the way up. The house was always making that noise. At 2 in the afternoon, you never once heard it. Then we found the counter move. Fire did not only cook food and hold off the cold. It bought back a circle of vision at night, which was the exact thing our ancestors did not have. Every campfire was a small, defended daylight. But a fire needs somebody watching it. And here is my favorite finding in all of this. Researchers strapped activity trackers to 33 Hadza hunter-gatherers in Tanzania and recorded 20 full nights of sleep. Across the entire study, there were 18 minutes in total when every single adult was asleep at the same time. 18 minutes out of 20 nights. Somebody was awake and listening for 99.8% of it. And nobody was assigned that job. It happened because the group naturally contained people who fell asleep late and people who woke early. Teenagers who cannot switch off before midnight. Older adults awake at 4:30. Not a defect. A rota nobody had to organize. Which is worth remembering the next time you snap awake at 3 in the morning for no reason and lie there listening to nothing. That is not a malfunction. That is a very old shift pattern, still running in a house with locks on the doors. It shows up loudest in children. Fear of the dark peaks somewhere between roughly 3 and 6 years old in exactly the individuals who could not run, could not fight, and could not be left alone for a second. The most vulnerable body gets the most sensitive alarm, which leaves one very strange question. If this system exists to keep us alive, why do we deliberately trigger it for entertainment? Why does anyone pay money, sit in a dark room, and let a total stranger frighten them for 90 minutes? Because the fear is real and the danger is not. And your body works out the difference just late enough for it to be fun. Horror knows exactly what it is aiming at. Darkness. A sound with no source. Something moving at the edge of the frame. It is not inventing your fear. It is playing an instrument that was already installed. So the next time you take those stairs a little faster, do not be embarrassed by it. Something in you just kept a promise it made 2 million years ago in a place where the dark genuinely did have teeth. It has been wrong every single night since. It only has to be right once.